Today, we're going to be talking about some of the things that can actually cause a tax inquiry to be triggered and initiated by Hmrc, as well as some of the simple steps that you can actually take as a business owner to ensure that you are minimizing the chances of potentially being investigated by Hmrc. Hello, if you're new here, my name is Tess and I'm a UK qualified accountant, and on this channel, I share useful tips to help fellow entrepreneurs like yourself grow and thrive in their businesses. If you ever want to work with me on a one-on-one basis, then please do so by using the link in the description box below. So usually the process of a tax inquiry will usually start by you actually receiving a letter of notification from Hmrc actually advising you that a tax inquiry has now been opened up on your case, okay, either for you as an individual or for your business. And when you receive this letter, you will usually have between 30 to 35 days for either you or your accountant to respond in writing to Hmrc. It's very important to make a note of what time frame you've been given by Hmrc, because they will be expecting a response from either yourself or from your accountant that you have assigned to actually help you work on your financial matters. Now, there are different reasons that might actually trigger a tax inquiry being opened up against you or against your company by Hmrc. Okay, and some of the factors that might actually trigger an investigation being opened on you might include, but is not limited to, the following things. One, you might be in a situation where Hmrc has found out that there are significant inconsistencies, mistakes, and even omissions on some of the tax returns that you have filed to them. Okay, it might be that you have filed inconsistent tax returns over the past 1, 2, 3 or even 5 years, and now that has now triggered up on their system and initiated them to actually open a tax return or tax investigation up against you or against your business. The second reason for Hmrc possibly opening a tax inquiry on you is where they have received information from banks or even building society that you are dealing with. Okay, so these banks and building societies will usually often tip off Hmrc where they suspect that there might be fraudulent activity, or there are particular large influx of cash that is coming into a particular bank account that just seems a little bit suspicious. Okay, so sometimes they might tip this off to Hmrc, and Hmrc will get information regarding you or regarding your business, which that might then in itself trigger a tax investigation or a tax inquiry. Now, the third reason why Hmrc might flag up an investigation on you, okay, is where you work in a high-risk industry, an industry that accepts a high volume of cash payments. Now, I know that whilst this can be extremely nerve-wracking, you do have to remember that Hmrc are not actually obliged to tell you the specific reason as to why they have opened up a tax inquiry or a tax investigation on you. So it is very important for you to actually then take critical steps to understanding how you can actually avoid having a tax inquiry or tax investigation open against you or open against your business. Now, if you're looking to actually avoid tax investigations by Hmrc, then one of the first things you want to make sure you're doing is to simply avoid trying to make assumptions regarding the tax laws. Okay, trust me, as a professional, I see it time and time again where lots of business owners go ahead thinking that they can make assumptions regarding the tax laws. The tax laws are subject to change at any time. And as a non-professional, it's very difficult for most business owners to actually understand what the tax laws mean, and more importantly, what the implications of that particular tax law is for their current situation. So one of the first things I will say is, if you are in a situation where you're running a business or you're an individual who regularly files tax returns, is to make sure that you're extremely clear on what the law says, okay, regarding your tax situation, and you're clear on what the implications of that is for you or for your business. The next tip I'll give to you when you're trying to actually avoid potential tax investigations by Hmrc is to keep proper records. I know this sounds very simplistic, but you'll be amazed how many business owners, how many entrepreneurs I come across who simply haven't developed a habit of keeping good records for their business. Okay, lack of proper records will actually make it far more difficult for you to actually provide accurate figures to Hmrc when you're filing your tax returns. And when you do this, it makes it far more likely that Hmrc can flag up, okay, your business or your particular tax return based on the fact that they are seeing figures that are inconsistent or that have omissions within them. So take extra care to make sure that when you start your business or when you're looking to file your tax returns and when you're starting that, make sure that your record keeping is in good order. That is very, very important. It sounds simplistic, it sounds basic, but trust me, it is extremely crucial that you take it seriously. Next step I have for you is to ensure that you're actually being transparent regarding your offshore or overseas income. Believe it or not, Hmrc can actually access data regarding any international accounts or any international assets, etc., that you hold. Okay, so do make sure that you are disclosing this, because a lot of people make the mistake of assuming that because it is overseas or because they are overseas, that therefore they don't have to disclose those particular assets or that particular income class. You might be in a position where, you know, you end up being caught down the line and you will end up having to face potential penalties, and you just don't want to be in that situation. Take it from me. Now that leads me on to a common step that I see so many business owners failing to take, which is being clear on what the difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion is. Okay, so tax avoidance is where you are actually utilizing tax loopholes, okay, loopholes within the tax laws that can actually help you minimize the amount of taxes that you are paying. It's a completely legal way of being able to minimize the taxes that you pay over to Hmrc. Tax evasion, on the other hand, is where you are carrying out activities to ensure that you completely avoid paying taxes, which in its sense is illegal. So it's very important that you understand the differences between these two terms, but also more importantly, that you're clear on what particular activities, what particular decisions might mean that you are actually doing something that falls under the category of tax evasion, or you are actually doing something that falls under the category of tax avoidance. Where you are unsure, please always speak to a professional accountant. The next step I have when it comes to actually reducing the chances of Hmrc opening a tax investigation or a tax inquiry on you is by making sure that when you file your tax returns, you actually do so on time. And more importantly, you pay the penalties or you pay the tax payments that you owe on time, because failing to do so will just simply, you know, open up a can of worms, and it will just make it all the more likely that Hmrc will actually have the spotlight on you. It will make it so much more likely that they can potentially open up an investigation on you. It's not always the case, but honestly speaking, I have seen tons and tons of people make the mistake where they have a tax return that, you know, has been filed and they have payments that are due, but for some reason they just simply did not make those payments, and in the long run it just ends up creating a backlog of penalties, and eventually Hmrc, you know, comes on them like a ton of bricks. So please just simply make the payments when the payments are due. And the next step you want to ensure you take is to actually seek professional advice. Okay, this seems very straightforward, but a lot of people don't tend to actually seek the relevant professional advice until it's too late. Please don't do this, okay? You can actually end up avoiding significant fines, significant penalties in the long run, okay? Because as professional tax accountants, what we can do is to ensure that we are running regular compliance reviews, making sure that we're reviewing the state of your business finances, the state of your personal finances, and actually making sure that you are staying compliant with Hmrc's tax laws, which will minimize the potential of any tax investigation or tax inquiries being opened up on you or on your business. So hopefully these tips will be helpful to you to help ensure that you can avoid any tax inquiries open up on you by Hmrc in the future. Please make sure to give this video a quick like. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. I will see you in the very next video.